5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey there, Facebook. Thanks for joining. Wanted to give you a quick update. We finally have a named storm. We've been waiting, for days and days while this thing was a messy situation. It's still messy out there in the Gulf, but we finally have Nestor. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on what's going on out there. We'll go to graphics. You can see here, still a very messy system. I mean, it's not pretty by any means. There's a lot of dry air on the west side and all the precipitation, all the heavy rain as well on the east side. But there it is, Tropical Storm Nestor, sustained winds 60 miles per hour, and this is as of the 1 p.m. update. It's still moving pretty quickly as well. Notice at 22 off towards the north and the east. The forecast, the good news, it hasn't changed for Southeast Louisiana, and we're not expecting it to change. We've got winds, or the main winds and main rain staying well to the southeast and towards the east of the area. Notice making landfall somewhere near Panama City tomorrow morning. So no big changes to the forecast, and this thing races on out across the east coast towards the Carolinas by Sunday morning, and then it's off the east coast north of Bermuda by Tuesday. So we like these fast moving systems. Let's put it on our precision cache, show you what's going on with that. You can see here as we go throughout the afternoon, the heaviest rain just off the coast. We're seeing some of those heavier downpours on the coast, and then some more sporadic rain here in New Orleans at least. By this evening, though, some rain still along the coast, maybe skirting southeast portions of Southeast Louisiana and coastal Mississippi, but most of it off the Florida Panhandle down towards Mobile area. So by tonight or this evening, we're expecting the heaviest of it to be well out of the area to the east, and then by tomorrow morning, there it is making landfall somewhere near Panama City as we go into Saturday morning as a tropical storm, and then moving on out of the area. So the best rain chances today right there along the coast, and decreasing rain chances as you head towards New Orleans. So a lot of people have been asking kind of what's the forecast for the rest of the day for New Orleans for football game, and really the rain chances are going to be very, very low this evening. We can't rule out a few passing showers as we get some of that wraparound moisture, but about a 20 to 30% chance of some lingering showers this evening going into tonight before things really dry out by Saturday. A current look at radar, you can see here just very, very light showers here in New Orleans. We're not seeing anything heavy, that's for sure. I stepped outside before we started this Facebook Live, and we just had some very, very light sprinkles falling. A bit breezy, though, and that's what's going to continue today. But the rainfall, it just doesn't look like we're going to pick up very heavy rainfall here in New Orleans. Maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch. And I'll be surprised if we see that much with what we've seen so far. You go to the coast, though, it's a bit rainier. I mean, towards Grand Isle, Boothville, the mouth of the Mississippi, Buras. We've got some heavier downpours out there. None of this is going to be a flooding issue, I don't think, but it is going to be enough to make for a pretty gloomy Friday, that's for sure. And it's going to remain pretty cloudy across the entire area today. Also, the winds. Notice we're starting to see some gusty winds, at least closer to here in New Orleans and the Metro Reserve. We've had a gust of 20 miles per hour. That's coming kind of off the lake, I guess, and then towards the lakefront, we've got sustained winds at 22, so the winds have picked up just a little bit here in the New Orleans area, but really not expecting it to be much higher than about 25 mile per hour sustained winds, maybe gusting to 30 miles per hour. So we're gusting to nearly 30 in Belle Chase, and then Boothville gusting to 23, so and Port Fourchon gusting to 28. So that's kind of what we're just going to be dealing with today. Maybe some higher gusts later this afternoon right there along the coast, but overall, expecting pretty minimal impacts here in Southeast Louisiana. This kind of shows you where the tropical storm force winds are going to be. So those are those sustained winds of at least 39 miles per hour. We're expecting those for the most part to stay off the coast to the south of the mouth of the Mississippi by a pretty good distance. We might see some gustier winds, maybe sustained 30 miles per hour right here along the coast, but we're expecting the widespread wind to stay out of the area. And then there are the even stronger winds right near the center of Nestor, as it makes its way up towards Panama City tomorrow morning as a tropical storm, bringing a pretty big area of winds. And this is also where the storm surge issues are going to be. We're not expecting really big storm surge issues. Those are going to be up towards the Big Bend area and down towards Tampa as we go through today and into tomorrow for Florida. But for us, I mean, really, this is a minimal impact situation. We do still have the tropical storm warnings for lower portions of Jefferson, Plaquemines and St. Bernard parishes. Those go until really further notice, but I think by tonight we'll watch those tropical storm warnings. They're going to be dropped for those areas, and that's where we could possibly see those sustained winds of 39 miles per hour. It doesn't look likely, but it's not impossible, so that's why they're just being a little cautious with that. And then it does include out into the open waters, south of Morgan City out into the waters, and then in the Mississippi, the Sounds, Mississippi Sound and Chandelier Sound. Those go until further notice as well. So very choppy out there. Nestor is one of those storms. It's kind of hybrid in nature, although they're going with a tropical storm. It is not a classic tropical storm. We've got an upper level low to the north, and look at all this dry air we've got to the west of Nestor. And this is why we're not really seeing anything on this side of the storm when we're really seeing it all on this side. So as long as Nestor is south of this upper level low, a little bit ahead of it, it's going to likely strengthen a little bit more, maybe 65 mile per hour sustained winds later this afternoon. But once it gets on the backside of this upper level low, it's going to start to decrease in intensity pretty quickly. But, I mean, that's really doesn't do anything for our forecast. We're not expecting a whole lot of rain here inland. Maybe a quarter of an inch on the high side, I do believe. But what we're going to be watching are the coastal flooding. And it's going to be very minor coastal flooding. I mean, anytime we get a strong southeast or easterly wind, we get coastal flooding, whether it be in Southeast Louisiana or South Mississippi. 1 to 3 feet on average. That's going to be low-lying areas that maybe get a little bit of water in them. Lakes 1 to 2 feet. Those winds will switch out of the north later this evening into tonight. So a lot of people are asking about the football games. Excuse me. And I will say that rain chances, they're very low. I'll show you what our precision cast is showing. So let's say 7 o'clock if we've got games kicking off around then. It's still possible we see a few lingering showers, but notice nothing terribly heavy this evening. So I don't think rain is going to be an issue for any games. Yeah, it may sprinkle a little bit. There may be a mist out there, but it's not. We're not expecting heavy downpours later this afternoon and evening anywhere in Southeast Louisiana. A little heavier right there along the coast, but really just not expecting a whole lot of rainfall with this. North Shore, someone asked about, I believe Washington Parish maybe. The free fair is going on this week through Sunday. Really, up in Washington Parish, I think on the North Shore, it's going to be hard to see any rainfall. So looking pretty dry up there. It is going to be chilly tonight. I mean, it's chilly out there this afternoon. So at least it's kind of feeling like football weather, I guess. But that's what we've got going on with the rain chances. Just not expecting anything heavy, especially on the North Shore. South Shore, maybe a few lingering showers tonight and through this evening into tonight. But all the heavy stuff well off to our east, as you can see here by precision cast. So I'm trying to look through any questions to see. Someone said the wind is kicking in Port Fourchon, flooding in Leeville. Yeah, I saw some pictures of some coastal flooding right there at Port Fourchon, Grand Isle, those areas. We've had that pretty strong little southeast to easterly wind, and of course we know that can cause some coastal flooding. So of course that's the main issue with this for most people is going to be the coastal flooding, although it's fairly minor. I mean, 1 to 3 feet. The winds, someone mentioned the winds are kicking down there along the coast, and they are. I mean, we're seeing some gusts upwards of 30 miles per hour right there in Port Fourchon, Belle Chase, gusting to 29. Excuse me. I'm getting over a cold, by the way. And then 22 mile per hour sustained winds at the lakefront. So a little breezy out there. And of course, all eyes are kind of on this Hard Rock collapse site with what's going on with that. And the winds maybe gusting up to 30 miles per hour here in downtown. And that's certainly something they'll be watching very closely. Someone said their friend's working on the rig down in the Gulf, and they are not going down. Yeah, a lot of this is kind of moving past the rigs that at least sit south of Louisiana. We're going to watch improving conditions pretty quickly through today. I mean, there's a lot of dry air behind this thing. So once we get past this afternoon and evening, the weekend's looking pretty decent. I mean, Saturday's looking pretty nice. Sunday's looking decent. And then it kind of changes as we go into Monday, ahead of our next cold front. I'm going to touch on that in a second because we could see some strong storms with that. Someone asked about Pensacola. Yeah, Pensacola, you're going to get a lot more of this than us down here in Southeast Louisiana and South Mississippi. You're going to get some rainfall. I mean, it's going to be breezy. You do have tropical storm warnings over there in Pensacola, going up into even the counties. Just really the Florida Panhandle. You're anywhere in the Florida Panhandle is going to see breezy conditions, and also some heavy rainfall. Here in Southeast Louisiana, not so much. Fortunately, this is staying just to our south and east. So yeah, someone said, "Woo, good miss." Yeah, I agree. This late in the season, I think we're all kind of checked out by this point, thinking, oh gosh, we don't need a tropical system this late. It's already getting chilly. It doesn't even feel like hurricane season outside with those temperatures in the 60s and 70s this afternoon. But it happens. We do get these tropical systems this late in the season sometimes, and that's why hurricane season runs until the end of November. A lot of areas do actually need this rain. Someone mentioned, these areas need this rain, especially in the southeast. We started to get really dry in September. Of course, we had a record-setting month in September. We've had plenty of records in October. So we certainly need the rain, but those areas in the southeast, Georgia, up towards Alabama, up towards the Carolinas, they certainly need some rainfall. Hi, Stacy from Thibodeau. Thanks for watching. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. We'll be on here just a little bit longer. There's not any big changes, though, for anyone tuning in. We do have Nestor now. It took a while, but it finally went under the transition it needed to become a tropical system. It was that potential tropical system for the longest, and that's because we really didn't have a well-defined center. That center is finally getting more defined, and it's all thanks to, you see all this convection, right? Or we say convection. Convection is just heavy rain and thunderstorms. You can see all that pretty close to the center, but it's still a very lopsided storm. I mean, this is the center due south of New Orleans, right near 90 West. And on the west side, there's not a thing going on. Where on the east side, we've got everything going on. So this is kind of what we expected with this. And that's why it took so long for this thing to become named. Someone asked about Mobile. Mobile, you're going to dodge the brunt of this storm. You're going to still see some rain today and tonight and some gusty winds. But the hardest hit areas are going to be in the Florida Panhandle. Really from Panama City going down towards the Big Bend area and into Tampa. That's where the storm surge is going to be. That's where the heavy strain is going to be. And then even into the Florida Peninsula, anytime we get a lopsided system like this, the tornado threat is definitely going to exist over towards Florida, even through tonight into tomorrow. So if you're traveling to Florida tomorrow, well, it's going to be a bit stormy. You're going to have to keep a very close eye on things. But here in Southeast Louisiana for Saturday, we're looking very, very nice for our weekend forecast. I mentioned earlier, let me pull up the 7-day here because we do have some nice temperatures in the forecast. I'm kind of excited about this 7-day because we're going to get some 70s and they're going to stick around for multiple days in a row. But we have to get through Sunday into Monday, and really Monday it's going to warm back up into the mid-80s ahead of our next cold front. This cold front's going to be pretty strong, and it could produce some pretty heavy rainfall, some showers and thunderstorms on Monday. We really haven't touched on much on this much on air because we've been kind of focused on tropical storm Nestor. But what may happen on Sunday is we could be looking at a few severe thunderstorms in the area. The Storm Prediction Center up in Norman, Oklahoma, they're kind of already highlighting an area 4 days out, so we're talking Monday, for a zone that might see some severe thunderstorms, mainly talking about gusty winds and then isolated tornadoes, of course. It looks like the greatest risk right now is going to be right on the edge of Southeast Louisiana, just to the north of South Mississippi. Notice they're highlighting a big chunk of Mississippi going up towards Memphis and Nashville and into portions of Alabama. This is probably going to be where we see most of the severe thunderstorms on Monday. But it's not impossible for us to see a few strong to severe thunderstorms here in Southeast Louisiana as that front moves on through. So once we get past today, we're going to have a few nice days here in Southeast Louisiana. And then as we go into next week, Monday, we're going to have another cold front move in. And that's going to bring in maybe the chance for some severe thunderstorms, strong thunderstorms. And of course, this is very typical this time of year. We always say we have a second severe weather season. We have it in the spring, and then we see a little bit of a break usually in the summer. We get some rain during the summer, and then in October and November, we have a secondary severe weather season. So it's not impossible for us to get severe thunderstorms this time of year, and that's what we'll be watching on Monday. So that's just kind of a heads up as we go into Monday. If you've got plans outside, that cold front's going to be moving through, producing some showers and thunderstorms, and some could be on the severe side. So that's looking ahead. Excuse me. Someone said they're ready for some sun along with some crisp fall weather. Me too. I love our winters down here because we get those cold fronts, and it may be cold in the morning, but by the afternoon sometimes we're at 65 degrees and we're sunny skies, low humidity, and really it doesn't get any better than that. And that's kind of what it's going to be like for a portion of next week. I mean, this cold front moves through Monday. By Tuesday into Wednesday, we're looking at temperatures in the mid-70s during the afternoons. We might see 50s on the South Shore. I mean, we're going with lows in the upper 50s on Wednesday morning here on the South Shore. North Shore, we're going with the upper 40s. So that is getting pretty chilly. I mean, step outside on that, you need at least a jacket or a sweater or something. So that's an extended look at the 7-day. Sorry if I sound stuffy. This cold front that blew through last week, I don't know what it blew in, but here's what I just want to recap with Nestor before we log off here. Of course, if you have any other questions, feel free to comment here. I'll try to get back to them. Go over to my Facebook, message me or whatever, and we'll get back to you. But Nestor, we finally have the name storm. It is a tropical storm, sustained winds at 60 miles per hour. The impacts have not changed for Southeast Louisiana, expecting very minimal impacts. It's going to be breezy here today. We're going to be watching a few passing showers for Friday night football. I don't think it's going to be a washout anywhere here in our area. Maybe some sprinkles. I would pack the rain gear just in case. I would also pack the jackets to stay warm, because sitting out in 65-degree weather during football season, especially if you're wet, you get pretty chilly pretty fast. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then the track you see here staying up towards Panama City area, the place that got hit by Michael last year, that's where it's probably going to make landfall as a tropical storm early on Saturday morning. But our impacts really haven't changed all that much. But I hope everyone enjoys their Friday. Saturday's looking pretty decent. Sunday's looking pretty decent. And then even going into Monday, that's when we're going to maybe see a few showers and thunderstorms on the strong side. That front moves on through. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's looking pretty nice. And then we kind of just back into the routine where we watch rain chances, cold front move through, lasts for a few days, and then back with the rain chances. So thanks everyone for tuning in. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask us here on social media. Go over to my social media page, meteorologist Peyton Malone. Ask there, and we will give you updates on there as well. Everyone have a wonderful and safe Friday afternoon and evening.